He was 74 years old and had always been the kind of man who walked everywhere, 3 miles every morning before breakfast. Up and down stairs without thinking. Gardening, yard work, carrying his own groceries from the car. His neighbors joked that he had more energy than men half his age. Then one morning, he went to get up from his kitchen chair and realized he needed both hands on the table to push himself up. He stood there for a moment, confused. He'd sat down. He'd tried to stand. And his legs had simply hesitated, like they'd forgotten how. He told himself it was a stiff morning. Probably the weather. But a week later, it happened again. Then, the week after that. He started cutting his walks short. Then he stopped the long ones entirely. His confidence, something he'd never once had to think about, quietly disappeared. One afternoon in his own driveway, his left leg buckled without warning. He grabbed the car door. He didn't fall. But he stood there shaking in front of his own house, thinking, what is happening to me? His doctor ran tests. No neurological damage. No significant joint disease. Everything looked, in his doctor's words, age-appropriate. And then his doctor asked one question. Not about his exercise. Not about his medications. About what he ate for breakfast. What happened next surprised him completely, because the answer wasn't a new medication. It wasn't a specialist referral. It wasn't even a major lifestyle overhaul. It was one food. The same food sitting in most refrigerators right now, being ignored every morning by millions of seniors whose legs are slowly, silently getting weaker. I'm going to tell you what that food is. But first, I need to explain something about what's really happening inside aging legs that most doctors simply don't have time to tell you. Because once you understand it, everything else will make complete sense. Here is what most seniors are never told. Leg weakness after 65 is not simply aging. It is a process, a specific, measurable, largely preventable process happening right now in people who consider themselves healthy. After 60, the body begins losing muscle at 1 to 2% every year when nothing is done to stop it. By 70, many adults have quietly lost 15 to 20% of the leg muscle they had at 50. And that loss hits hardest in exactly the muscles you need most: the thighs, the hips, the muscles that let you stand from a chair, climb stairs, walk without shuffling, catch yourself when you stumble. Picture two people. Same age. Same general health. One is still walking confidently, climbing stairs without holding the rail, traveling, getting on the floor to play with grandchildren, and standing back up without help. The other is holding the wall in the hallway, avoiding stairs, turning down invitations because getting around has become exhausting. The difference between those two people is almost never luck or genetics. In most cases, it comes down to one thing that happens, or doesn't happen, every single morning before the day begins. And here is what researchers discovered that shocked many doctors when the data first came in. The morning hours are the specific window when aging muscles are most primed to receive a rebuilding signal. Most seniors are waking up every morning and missing that window completely, with toast, cereal, oatmeal, juice, and their legs are paying the price quietly, year after year. In a moment, I'm going to show you exactly how to hit that window. But what I'm about to tell you about this one food is something most seniors, and honestly many doctors, have never fully understood. The single most powerful breakfast food for leg strength after 65 is eggs. Not a supplement. Not a powder. Not something expensive or difficult to find. Eggs. Ordinary eggs. And I want to spend real time here, because the reason eggs are so powerful is not the reason most people think. And understanding the real reason is what makes the difference between someone who tries eggs for a week and gives up and someone who makes them the foundation of their morning and gets genuinely different legs as a result. Most seniors eating a typical American breakfast are consuming 8 to 12 grams of protein in the morning. A piece of toast, some cereal, maybe a small yogurt. It feels like a real breakfast. The problem is that after 65, the body needs at least 25 to 30 grams of protein at breakfast to actually trigger meaningful muscle rebuilding. That is 2 to 3 times what most people are getting. Every morning, for years. Think of it this way. Every night while you sleep, your muscles are waiting. They've been working all day. Walking, standing, climbing stairs, carrying things. Overnight, they enter a rebuilding phase. But rebuilding requires raw material. And when you wake up and give them 8 grams of protein with a piece of toast, it's like trying to build a house with a handful of bricks. 3 eggs change that completely. 3 eggs deliver nearly 20 grams of complete, immediately usable protein. The kind the aging muscle actually recognizes and can use right away, not protein that has to be processed and converted and partially wasted. Direct building material. And that's before we even talk about what else eggs bring that no other single food can match. Eggs contain vitamin D, the nutrient that aging muscles require to fire quickly and powerfully, the kind of power you need to catch yourself when you stumble. They contain healthy fats that help the body absorb that vitamin D. They contain B vitamins that fuel the energy systems inside the muscle cells themselves. No other single food delivers that combination in a form the aging body can use this efficiently. This is why eggs aren't just a good protein source. They are specifically, uniquely suited to the biology of legs that are trying to stay strong after 65. And what happened when researchers compared seniors who ate a protein-rich egg breakfast consistently versus those who ate the typical low-protein morning meal was not subtle. The egg group showed measurably better muscle retention, better balance scores, and better functional strength, the ability to stand up, walk, climb stairs, after just 8 to 12 weeks. 8 to 12 weeks. Not years. Not months of grueling effort. Weeks of eating differently at breakfast. Now, I know what some of you are thinking, because I hear it from patients regularly. I was told eggs raise cholesterol. I stopped eating them years ago. I understand. That advice came from respected sources, and many people followed it faithfully. But the research on eggs and heart health has shifted significantly in recent decades. For most healthy adults, including those with managed blood pressure or cholesterol, moderate egg consumption has not been found to meaningfully increase cardiovascular risk. And for adults over 65 who are losing muscle and at risk of falls, fractures, and loss of independence, the evidence now firmly supports eggs as one of the most valuable foods available. The concern about eggs was always overstated for most people. The benefit of eggs for aging legs has been consistently underestimated. Let me tell you what happened to the man from the beginning of this story. For years, without knowing it, he'd been starting every morning with 2 pieces of toast and a cup of coffee. Maybe a small bowl of cereal on weekends. Somewhere between 8 and 10 grams of protein day after day. His muscles overnight had been waiting for a rebuilding signal that never came. His doctor suggested one change. 3 eggs every morning. Prepared however he liked. That was it. 6 weeks later, he stood up from his kitchen chair without his hands on the table. He didn't plan it. He didn't notice it until he was already standing. He turned to his wife and said, "Did I just do that?" 10 weeks in, he went back to his morning walk. Not 3 miles. Not yet. But a mile. Then a mile and a half. His wife stopped watching him anxiously on the stairs. 14 weeks after one breakfast change, he called his doctor and said, "I feel like I got 5 years back." Not from a medication, not from surgery, from 3 eggs. Every morning, consistently. That is not an unusual result. That is what happens when aging muscles finally receive what they have been waiting for. But here is where I need to be honest with you, because this is the part most videos skip. Eggs are the hero, but they work best with a small support team. And the support team is simpler than you think. The 4 foods that work alongside eggs are not complicated. I'm not going to ask you to overhaul your entire diet. I want you to think of these as things you add to what you're already doing, small additions that complete what eggs start. The first is Greek yogurt. Plain, not sweetened. Add a cup alongside your eggs, and your morning protein jumps to 35 grams or more. Greek yogurt absorbs faster than egg protein. It starts the rebuilding signal sooner, while the eggs sustain it longer. Together, they create a 2 to 3 hour window of muscle repair that neither food produces alone. If plain yogurt is too sharp, a small handful of fresh berries is fine. Not sweetened fruit, fresh berries. That distinction matters, and I'll explain why in just a moment. The second is magnesium. This one surprises people. A small handful of pumpkin seeds or almonds, either one, added to breakfast provides the mineral your muscles need to actually fire cleanly. When magnesium is low, muscles fatigue faster, cramp more easily, and feel heavy, even without obvious cause. Many common medications quietly deplete magnesium over time. Most people never connect the two. A handful of seeds takes 30 seconds. It is one of the most underused tools in the fight against weak legs. The third addition is water, specifically a full glass the moment you wake up, before anything else. Muscles are 75% water. After 8 hours of sleep with no fluid, they wake up running dry. That heaviness, that weakness, specifically in the morning that eases slightly as the day goes on, often it's partial dehydration. 30 seconds. 1 glass. First thing. And the fourth is lean red meat. Beef, pork, lamb, eaten in moderate amounts, several times per week, at whatever meal suits you best. Many seniors cut red meat significantly years ago, based on advice that has since been substantially revised. Lean red meat contains compounds that fuel the fast, powerful muscle actions, standing up quickly, catching your balance, that no other food replaces as efficiently. If you've been avoiding it entirely, that absence may be part of why the legs feel unreliable under pressure. Together, these 4 additions take about 60 additional seconds of effort in the morning. They don't replace eggs. They complete what eggs begin. But before I give you the full morning routine, there is one thing you must avoid. A single habit that cancels out almost everything you do right, and it's happening in the kitchens of millions of seniors every single morning. Sugar first. Orange juice. Sweetened yogurt. Flavored oatmeal. A piece of toast with jam. Even a large portion of fruit. When significant sugar enters the body first thing in the morning, it triggers a response that actively suppresses the muscle rebuilding process for the next 1 to 2 hours. You could eat 3 eggs alongside it, and the rebuilding signal would still be blunted. Not eliminated, blunted. Weakened. Partially wasted. Protein first. Always. Water before coffee. Eggs before anything sweet. If you want fruit, have it after the protein, not before or alongside. That sequencing shift alone, without changing a single food, has changed morning energy and leg strength for patients who were already eating reasonably well. The foods were right. The order was working against them. So here is the complete morning routine. Everything together. Simple enough to start tomorrow. Wake up. Drink a full glass of water before you do anything else. Then 3 eggs, scrambled, poached, in an omelet with spinach and any vegetables you enjoy. Alongside those eggs, a cup of plain Greek yogurt with a small handful of pumpkin seeds or almonds mixed in or alongside. That is your protein foundation and your magnesium support, together in one bowl and one plate. If you want to add berries, add them after you've started on the eggs and yogurt, not before. That breakfast, eaten consistently, 5 days a week or more, will give your leg muscles what they have almost certainly been missing for years. And the change you notice, the getting up from chairs, the confidence on the stairs, the walk that gets a little longer, will not come from willpower or effort. It will come from the legs finally having the raw material they needed all along. Keep lean red meat in your diet several times a week. Keep asking your doctor whether your medications might be depleting magnesium. And protect this morning routine the way you'd protect a medication, because for your legs, it is one. I want you to close your eyes for just a moment and imagine something. 6 months from now, you're walking into a family gathering, steady, confident, no hesitation on the front steps. You get down on the floor to play with a grandchild, and you stand back up without anyone reaching to help you. You book a trip you've been putting off because travel had started to feel uncertain. You open the car door and get in without calculating how to manage it. You are in your own home, on your own terms, climbing your own stairs. That is not a fantasy. That is what happens to real people in their 70s and 80s when they stop accepting weakness as inevitable and start giving their legs what they actually need every morning. The man from the beginning of this story is walking again. More than a mile most mornings. Gets up from chairs without thinking. His wife stopped watching the stairs. He told me the hardest part was accepting that something so simple had been missing for so long. I thought I was just getting old, he said. Turns out I was just running on empty. You don't have to run on empty anymore. Tell me in the comments, has this been happening to you? The chair that requires more effort, the stairs that feel different, the walk that got shorter without you deciding to shorten it? And most importantly, what does your breakfast look like right now? One simple answer in the comments might be the most useful thing you do today. If this raised questions about other habits that protect leg strength and independence after 65, there's another video here about the 3 morning exercises that rebuild leg strength fastest, designed specifically for adults over 65. No gym required. Together with what you learned today, they complete the picture. Growing older does not automatically mean becoming weak. With the right habits, many adults remain strong, confident, and fully independent well into their 70s, 80s, and beyond. Start tomorrow morning. 3 eggs, 1 glass of water, 1 decision. That is where it begins.